All right, Geek Variants. It's Brent filling in for Dan to Dan, and I gotta say, what in the actual? All right, seriously, Brent back here for Geek Variants. Cover all things Marvel, DC, Lord of the Rings, anime, gaming, Star Wars, and more. This time, Dan to Dan, episode 2. That's a space alien, ain't it? And I gotta say, this is easily one of the weirdest shows I have ever seen. Normally, whenever I cover an anime, I have at least read the manga, so I know, for the most part, what to expect. I think Kaiju number 8 was the one where I've read most of it, but I'm not all the way done with what's going on with the series, or at least caught up. In Dan to Dan's case, I am on a whirlwind of adventure right now. Like, I feel like I'm in a hurricane being annihilated by pink fluffy bunnies while people are yelling the word bananas at me. This anime is weird. And for the longest time, I've been struggling with Okaron and kind of like who his voice actor is, because like his voice is definitely one of one. It stands out in a crowd. Come to find out, it's from Tokyo Revengers. He's Takamichi. So I was like, oh, that would explain why in the world I was making the similarities between the English and the English there. So goes to show, it goes back to Tokyo Revengers, which we were going to cover on the channel, but overall the show just didn't hold my attention. But this show, on the other hand, is holding all of my attention. You have a kid that is being possessed by a granny who likes to gobble, well, male regions. And then you have a girl who has psychic powers that have somehow, I'm assuming, passed down through generational family traits because her grandmother is so in tune with this and her parents are missing. I'm assuming something happened to her parents that caused them to go amiss. Albeit there was a curse, a spirit, an alien, because everything seems to be connected, at least in this universe, in some way, shape, or form, that caused them to go missing. So to have her be raised by her grandparent, and somehow she was able to get this psychic energy or kinesis, or however you want to call it, where she's able to articulate and use her hands, much in the same way like a Jedi would, where you'd be able to like just move your hands and boom, what you want to have happen happens. You just have to think about it and which hand you're transferring the energy or essence to. It works. And for her, she has been able to be a standout character on the show. I really like her attitude. I think she seems to be very well written. I still find it bizarre that we keep ending up in this situation where she's not wearing enough clothing for anybody's liking. I know I'm going to be nitpicking that, but again, when I watch animation, I'm not looking for skimpy. For animation, I'm looking for entertainment. There's a huge difference there. It could be just me. That's where I'm on there. But everything going on here, we're just kind of in this circle of trying to basically balance out keeping Okaron from being turned into the evil granny, and we're also in the balance between, her everything involving Okaron and our main character just kind of going back and forth between, they don't really belong in the same world, let alone the same circle. One is a girl who seems to be very popular, tons of friends, can pick up boys really easily, even though how her relationships end usually holds to her holding on to her morals more than doing anything else, which, hey, everyone lives their life to their own standards. And then we have this dork who society has absolutely pummeled into believing that he can't be anything more than a nobody. For whatever reason, for whatever way, shape, or form, Okaron has just kind of accepted that he is just this nothing burger. And ultimately, I think throughout him getting this granny's curse, he's going to kind of accept more of himself and kind of like push on further through what's going on. In this episode, we had the alien arrive up to the front after Okaron accidentally caught fire because the curse tag that the granny had, who just so happened to be missing, I might add, she was probably doing something important. Just happened to be out at that time. Okaron catches fire due to the ward on the barrier. Ultimately, we had to rip that down. We left it off for a little bit too long, as we had, Okaron and Mrs. A just kind of going back and forth, just typical teenager stuff. I can't believe you said this. I can't believe you talked about me that way. I don't like you talking about my negatives that way and that openly. And they were just, kind of name calling back and forth, just kind of just having this tete a tete because, well, why not? Only for the new doorbell, because apparently you can install a spirit doorbell. I haven't seen one of those in today's day and age, and thank goodness, because can you imagine that goes off in the middle of the night and be like, oh, cool. Fantastic. A double unwanted guests. But the spirit doorbell goes off, so to speak. And ultimately, they try and sneak out of the house, try and get out of this ward, only to find out that their entire area is cased in by concrete or cement or something. Some solid barrier is keeping them trapped in this area with a sumo, what they assume at first is a spirit, only for it to turn out to be a sumo alien. They have sumo wrestling in space? I mean, I understand when Yu-Gi-Oh made it bizarre and they wanted to have dueling aliens. The Kaiba was a billionaire who wanted to send a space rocket to space. Just try and teach aliens how to duel. Anyway, I'm off on a tangent here. But like, we have a sumo space alien out here having a full-on trying to attack our main character because she somehow broke a promise she never made. Look, we all saw the last episode. That was not a consensual moment. That, at the very least, I'm not even going to go there. I'm not even going to speculate on that. It was a take by force. That is exactly what was happening. There was no agreement whatsoever. So her breaking a promise, nonsense. Fiddle faddle, don't believe in any of it whatsoever. So for the alien to show up and then start attacking everyone, we kind of have this weird balance between, hey, we can't just slap this barrier up because Okuron will catch fire. But also, we need to put this barrier back up so we can ensure that this space alien is just gonna leave. Because there's no other way of defeating it other than they assume, because of sumo wrestling standards, if your hand touches the ground, I guess you lose. I don't know anything about sumo wrestling. It's fascinating to watch. I just don't get it or understand it. It's kind of like cricket. It's basically the world's version of baseball, but I don't understand it. Love baseball, don't understand cricket. I don't understand sumo wrestling. I think wrestling is entertaining as a product. It's a weird middle ground, I know. But ultimately, they were able to, through the power of our main character, Miss Asay, just kind of go ahead and just started catching those hands from the sumo wrestler. She was able to handle it to where the concrete got pounded enough in to where she was able to create phrasing, able to catch enough of a barrier in the concrete to where it was just destroyed enough to where she had an indent to where she could summon Okuron, pull him through, grab the barrier, slap it up there, and ultimately save everyone from being attacked by this alien. Unfortunately, she used all of her energy and all of her psychic powers or kinesis powers or however you want to phrase it to go ahead and make this happen. So the minute that she's able to save Okuron, they're having this happy moment, everything's great. She passes out, only for Okuron then to be transformed fully into the Granny's curse. And now we have to deal with next episode how we're ultimately going to get him back on lock and wherever the heck that our girl is going to wake back up in. Where's she at? What happens to her? Is her grandma going to find her? We're going to get some backstory on her, or we're going to get some kind of backstory involving Granny's curse. Next episode is Granny's curse versus Granny's curse. So it's going to be interesting to see just kind of like how they go about dealing with those things in that regard. Ultimately, I hope we're going to find some kind of concrete answer to everything that's going on here shortly. Be sure to hit that lovely red subscribe button. We're going to keep up with as much content as we can. I still have to figure out what the heck is going on with Mecha Ude and see if I can cover that intelligently for you, the viewer. I've been Brett for Geek Variants. I'll see you in the next episode.